If you've watched this channel for a while, you probably know that we love talking about astrography. The layout of the Star Wars universe and the sheer details of its world building is one of our favorite things about the franchise. And when it comes to the Star Wars galaxy, no conversation about galactic civilization is complete without a mention of hyperspace routes. Hyperspace, as you surely know, was the bedrock of space travel in the Star Wars universe, and hyperspace travel required predefined routes, without which ships would be unable to navigate hyperspace. The galaxy had many hyperspace routes, but there were 5 that were the most important, often referred to as super hyper routes. In this video, we'll be telling the surprisingly interesting stories of these 5 routes.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
First things first, let's orient ourselves. The longest hyperspace route in the galaxy was the Hydian Way, which ran from Suf on the galaxy's southern fringe all the way to Bonadan in the corporate sector, spanning the entire galaxy in the process. The Polemian trade route and the Corellian run stretched out from Coruscant to the distant reaches of the eastern outer rim. The rumor trade route started at Abrogado Ray in the southern core and led to Kal Shebel. Finally, we have the Corellian trade spine, which began at Corellia and led far out into the western reaches, ending somewhat past Terminus. Got it? Good. Now, let's get into the stories of these routes. 2 of these super routes are among the oldest in the galaxy: the Polemian trade route and the Corellian run. The Polemian was the first major route ever charted by the Galactic Republic, and by 25,000 BBY, after just a few decades of exploration, it extended all the way from Coruscant to Ossus and the Tyon cluster in the Outer Rim. Such rapid progress was a huge stroke of luck, or perhaps the will of the Force, since it was the blazing of the Polemian that introduced the then Ossus-based Jedi Order to the Republic. The Polemian, also known as the Axis to the Alsakani, was also the primary vector for the Republic's First War, in which the Honorable Union of the Decevero and Tyon fought a back-and-forth war with the Republic along the route. The Corellian run took a bit more time to make it all the way to the Outer Rim, but progress on it was still extremely fast for the time the run was being charted in. It was the extension of the Spin, a well-established route that connected Coruscant to Corellia, which the Corellians eventually extended all the way out past Ryloth. Much like the Polemian, which helped spread Alsakani influence out into the Rim, the Corellian run was an axis of Corellian influence, as we're sure you never would have guessed from the name. What's most important about the Polemian trade route and the Corellian run, however, is what lay between them. The space between the 2 routes was known as the Slice, and it was a big part of why the Republic was able to dominate the galaxy. These 2 routes defined the scope of the Republic, transforming it from a collection of allied core worlds to a galaxy-spanning civilization. The slice that the Corellian run and Polemian route defined was a hotbed of exploration and settlement for thousands of years, the heart of Republic industrial power. Even in later centuries, the slice was home to a big part of galactic civilization and one of the most populated parts of the galaxy. Apart from their role in defining the slice and the Republic in general, these 2 routes played another very important role in history. They made Coruscant the center of the galaxy. Coruscant had been wealthy and powerful before, and it had always been the capital of the Republic, but in the Republic's early years, it was rivaled in power and significance by Alsakan and Corellia. But Coruscant's location at the junction of the 2 defining super routes of the Republic gradually made it the indisputable capital of the galaxy, swelling the planet's power and prestige beyond imagination. The next super hyper route to be forged started out around the same time as the Polemian and the Corellian run, but it took nearly 20,000 years to be fully established, so it lacks the prestige and historical significance. This was the Corellian trade spine, which provided the Republic access to the remote backwaters of the western reaches. Much of the trade spine was located out in what could charitably be called the middle of nowhere, and it siphoned traders and goods from the more obscure parts of the galaxy to the core worlds. The Corellian trade spine began as a simple route between Corellia and nearby Duro, but the Corellians and Duros steadily expanded it farther. The inner part of the route passed through Yagdul and Kinyen, allowing the Given and Gran to become integral parts of the Republic. From there, it headed out far into underexplored space, eventually passing through the Greater Javan, where a branch of the route, called the Ison Corridor, connected Hoth and Bespin to the galaxy. During the Clone Wars, the trade spine was incredibly important to the Republic war effort, as it was a vital supply line for the GAR. At Yagdul, the Corellian trade spine intersected with another major route, the Rimmer trade route. The Rimmer began as the Hidaki Pool, one of the backbones of the Herglic trade empire, and when the Herglics joined the Republic in 13,000 BBY, they began working with the Given to extend the route. By around 5,000 BBY, it stretched out far into the Outer Rim, linking soon-to-be vital worlds like Sullust and Clactor 7 to the Republic. In the modern era, the Rimmer trade route was a major theatre of the Clone Wars, as the route was initially separatist-dominated apart from a small region around Ariadu. The final super hyper route to be forged was not only the longest, but also the one with the most interesting story. We're talking about the Hydian Way, forged by Hyperspace Scout and Brental 4 native Freya Kalia, who forged the whole route in just 12 years, from 3,705 to 3,693 BBY. Her work made her homeworld, which sat at the crossroads of the Hydian and the Polemian, incredibly rich, and Brental 4 honoured Kalia by retelling her story through a popular opera called the Kalia Cycle. Kalia forged the Northern Hydian Way, which originally led from Brental out to Farana on the northern edge of the galaxy, in just 1 year. With that said, most of her work had already been done for her. Most of what she did in the north was knit together existing routes, stringing together the Corsan Run, the Mandalorian Road, the Sprizzen End Run, the Spurs of Selenon, and the Morellian Trail. Her new super route allowed easy access to the Republic's distant northern rim territories. But it also attracted the attention of the Nemoidian scouts Thoax and Faj Ossax, who feared their business would be ruined if Kalia kept at it. South of Brental, Kalia's new route joined with the Brental Denon route, but beyond Denon, there weren't any convenient existing routes for Kalia to work with. Nonetheless, she was determined to extend her route all the way to the galaxy's southern edge. The Ossax brothers hired Duros scout Banu Hydia to stop her, but Hydia instead helped Kalia extend the route to Malastare in the mid-rim. Kalia intended to push farther, but at Malastare, her ship was sabotaged by Thoax and Faj, forcing her to crash on the nearby unexplored planet Nuva. She was stranded there for 6 years before Hydia rescued her. While Kalia was stranded on Nuva, Thoax and Faj had taken over her project, pushing the route out to Clactor 7. However, after Kalia's rescue, she became determined to finish the route herself, and Hydia joined her. The two pushed the route out to Terminus, where it met the Corellian trade spine, and then further to remote Imunusov, an obscure, treasure-rich planet where the now route finally terminated. On Imunusov, Kalia and Hydia fought a battle with Thoax and Faj's thugs and the native Imini. Kalia survived, and the Nemoidians were finally arrested by Republic authorities in the battle's aftermath, but Hydia was severely wounded and died. Mourning for her adversary turned friend, Kalia decided to name her galaxy-changing routes after him, the Hydian Way. So those are the stories of the 5 greatest hyperspace routes in the galaxy, but what do you think? Did you have any idea that a bunch of simple space roads would have so much story behind them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.